I I I I first saw a social media post from the NFL
20
social
seconds, Ruckus.
media. Sorry.
Yeah, I said 20 seconds. Yeah, but I think that's a cute way of calling this game for two 40-year-old quarterbacks. Last one here, Sleeper's fantasy football picture of
Dude,
Josh Allen. What's up?
you know I was gonna say the Unk game, right?
This is the Ruckus and the Menace.
Challenge accepted.
No. Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
There you go.
There it is.
There's a winner. Look at that.
Back.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you.
Ruckus and the Menace fam, how's it going? You are listening to episode number 158 of the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. I'm Spence the Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And this episode, strap in because we've got a wild one in week 7, including a couple of really interesting takes in football, playoff baseball, and also a color commentary involving the first coach firing of the season. But Ruckus, I think other than this, I'd say how we holding up. I know this is not our normal run of recording because I decided to go out and watch a soccer match last night. Really good, by the way, for high school level soccer.
Yeah, I never really watched high school
well.
soccer, but it does seem like it'd be a lot more fun to watch. But anyway, sorry, you were saying.
I'm even talking like soccer's one of those sports where it's like you may not get a ton of scoring, but whenever it comes in, the moment that the goal is scored, it just goes nuts.
Yep. So what I've been up to this past week. So Battlefield 6 launched on Friday, October 10th, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. And so everyone wasn't able to play it until Friday morning or really Friday afternoon, but people were met with server queues and trying to get as many people into the game as possible without killing the servers. But EA managed to pack in 747,000 people at one time. There were of people that were concurrently playing for the first 24 hours, which is kind of nuts because Battlefield 6, the CEO at the time, before the beta even released or was even talked about releasing, was wanting the game to get a concurrent number of players into 100 million players. This doesn't even touch a million, maybe 3/4 of the way.
Wait, 100 million?
Yes. This nut job of a CEO was like, you know what? We want 100 million people playing concurrent. It's like, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, basically the game has to have universal acclaim, universal affordability for people to be able to get it, and this thing needs to be completely shot to the moon. I mean, he was shooting for it, but to get 747,000 concurrent within the first 24 hours in an industry where, yeah, opening day sales honestly are really, it seems like king. I mean, Battlefield 6 held its own. And I chose not to get it because unfortunately it was sandwiched between two other game purchases I had already set myself out.
Yeah. So I've tried playing it on the EA Play Pro version of the game, and the weird thing was when I booted it for the first time, it played the game at a lower res. So I was trying to mess with the graphics settings to see if I can get the display resolution to 4K, and it didn't have that. So I had to modify the file and make sure that it was repaired. and then it worked. But then I was like, well, if everyone's talking about how this game runs better and just plays better on Steam, I'll just do that. So I ended up getting the Phantom Edition because I knew I'm going to play the hell out of this game. And I still, right now, I had the urge that I want to play Battlefield 6, but this is podcast time. This is more important. But you know what else is more important is the fact that we didn't talk about the number of copies sold and how much money they made in the first few days for Battlefield 6. And that number is, drum roll please. Okay. Total copies sold. Sorry.
I was somewhere in at least the 2.5 million. 2.5.
Oh, brother, this is 3 times that. Total copies sold is over 6.5 million. Their total revenue is over 350 million. Their the main platform breakdown was 56% were on Steam, over 3.5 million copies on there. PlayStation 5 had 1.5 million copies sold, and Xbox Series S and X had 1.2. So not bad. And the funny thing is, during this launch release too, Call of Duty made Black Ops 6 multiplayer and zombies free for the weekend to try to lure people away from Battlefield 6. It's like, this is insane. I've been playing it nonstop, and my favorite moment that I've had so far, and this is where I'm going to end off on this because I've been talking for way too long. Yesterday I was playing, and I was doing a daily for 10 sniper kills. Well, I'm sitting in this like weird like construction area, and there's like these stilts that kind of go per level to build the building. So I'm like on the 3rd phase of that. Well, we're spawn killing the crap out of the team that we're playing in Breakthrough. I'm just sitting there high up trying to get a good vantage point with my sniper, and I'm just sniping a couple guys, getting a few kills, and then all of a sudden I just hear a like a RPG rocket just go shoo, and then it like hit me off of that level and brought me down a peg, and I'm just sitting there like, oh shit, that happened. Well, okay, let's just keep going and just get more sniper kills. Like, it's super engaging. I love the atmosphere of the game so far. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, Spinnis, carry on.
I've still been messing with Ghost of Yote. It is definitely a very cookie cutter vengeance game, but it is like, while Ruckus deals more with things that go pew pew, I am more akin to enjoying games that also involve a blade.
That game does look
As
cool,
in
by the way.
swords. Yeah,
Is it
I
the
will say
same?
this, it
Is
looks
it
great.
Is it the same studio that made Ghost of Tsushima?
Yep. There was a lot of PR nightmare and stuff like that leading into it, and I'll say the game looks like it's just way too, like, it's big. Like, it is a big open world game that just lets you in and you go hog wild.
It's such a beautiful
And
game too, from all the foliage and stuff that's around.
I will say this. I think between the two, gameplay and visuals are kind of a push, but I think that the main character development and narrative are better in the first one. I think the first one, the narrative is better. As in Tsushima just for me, it hits the narrative notes and does a really good job of expressing an internal conflict culturally that would make sense for the samurai dealing with being an Onryo. It's like this, like the Ghost of Yote, it's like they drop it right on you that you're an Onryo. You're dealing with this group, this organization that killed your family. Now you're out to get them. That's kind of it. It's kind of it.
I still haven't.
There's no war with a rival. There's no war with a rival with an enemy nation. There's no
I was about to
like
say
it's just
speaking.
left to that.
I was about to say speaking of story, I forgot to mention that I haven't beat the campaign for Battlefield 6 yet, but I will eventually. It's not you're not missing much. But
Yeah.
my work friend is also picking up this game that you're probably about to mention right now.
Oh, I'm picking up Pokemon Legends ZA later, so
My buddy
I'm
just bought
gonna
a
have
Switch
that.
2 because he realized that the Switch 1 cannot play the new Pokemon game.
Oh man, I messed around with playing Pokemon Violet for the Switch on the Switch 2, and oh my goodness,
He
like
had the same reaction you just had, where it's like, "Oh my God, this is
no,
so smooth."
no, this thing, like Pokemon Violet, Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 2, dealing with those optimization issues from the Switch 1. Oh my goodness, this game it was smooth as butter
Which is
on.
how it always should be. Take notes,
Yes.
Nintendo.
Well, Game Freak just. I remember back in 2022 when I was talking about Sword and Shield and all their issues in Legend Arceus, and their issue was optimization. Now they've got this down pat to ZA. With ZA coming out, I'm getting it for the Switch too because I bought one. You know I bought one,
Yeah,
so
my friend was
let
also talking about how smooth like other games ran on the Switch 2 enhanced
oh
too.
man, the power of it is definitely better. I mean, granted, it is not up to snuff with the PC or the PlayStation 5. But for
Right.
everything that Nintendo really wants to run, oh, a Switch 2 can operate with it like butter.
Yep.
But on that note, other than I was going to mention stuff about the neighborhood, but we'll, we'll I'll leave that for another time. Let's move on to our Eastwood segment, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yep. All right.
And
What is the good this week, Mr. Spennis?
I believe both you and I are super hype about this. The Seattle Mariners are currently 2 games away from their first World Series in franchise history. I I honestly am stoked for this because ironically enough, I just played this over the summer. Not quite to the exact teams on the AL side, but I feel like I'm going through what I was working on with a March to October with some small twists in there over like all over again, and it's getting me excited.
Yep, I just hope that Cal Raleigh and company can keep going at their pace because
Oh
like
yeah.
they're doing a damn good job against the Blue Jays, which the Blue Jays have been hungry a little bit
Oh,
when it comes to their offense. And like Ernie Clement and Barger, I think is the other guy's name. They've been kicking ass.
I mean, I have no dissatisfaction of Toronto if they get in either because they haven't made their way since '93. And they've won 2 where basically one of them basically they told Joe Carter to touch them all. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's yeah, I remember that one.
yeah, I'm quite happy about. Well, you wouldn't have known too much about that other than watching
I
highlights
saw
because
the highlights. Yeah, I was to say
yeah, that's because you weren't even born. You weren't even born yet. You
I
weren't even
was
a thought of when Touch 'Em All Joe was a thing. But
well, I was probably still living in my dad's you know what. But anyways, let's keep going.
that's exactly what I was saying. Is that you weren't even a thought yet. Oh, but the bad this week is that the Steelers stadium field conditions are experiencing outrage already, and we're just barely a third of the way into the season. Why? Because they are sharing a field also with the college team, the Pitt Panthers. and the wear and tear of the field is kind of accumulating faster than other stadiums in the NFL.
Well, didn't they also? I never heard any complaints about the field during the Christmas game last year between the Steelers and Chiefs. Maybe there was, and it was just kind of swept under the rug. But
There's always been shaky field conditions in Pittsburgh, especially because the two sides share a stadium. So the wear and tear on it doesn't help. And a lot of games were at home early on for Pitt. And it's somehow that the field never really properly recovered.
anyways, let's ready to hop along.
Well, we can move to the ugly. We can move to the ugly at this point, and that is that a lawyer, the Skaggs family lawyer for this, has made an argument that the Angels have some culpability in the death of Tyler Skaggs because they employed the man who provided him the fentanyl-laced oxycodone that took his life. The employee that did this also is currently serving a 22-year prison sentence for providing Skaggs the pills. And this is ugly more so in terms of the Angels because this is number one, not only a PR nightmare, but this is just an organizational nightmare that has so many sanctions that it could put the front office in trouble.
I mean, they're already in trouble just in general with their reputation after Ohtani left, and now with Mike Trout being injury prone. The treatment of Trout in general.
There was definitely a lot of things you could question along with that because the Angels have not been the best organization for a lot of different things. I mean, fumbling the bag with Shohei Ohtani, basically holding the career of Mike Trout hostage.
Yeah.
Putting up a bad offer for Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yep. But I will say, let's get to our stud and dud of the week, and why don't we start with the duds? Because we can use your stud as a segue there, Ruckus.
Sounds good.
Yep. And I'll start, and I'm pretty sure you could start with your dud, which is honestly not really a dud for me because I am just entirely fine with it.
Oh, it's kind of like an oxymoron or like whatnot because even though that Groupon that you see sometimes on the internet randomly that's leaked, that is the Yankees just in the nutshell. Every year they go to the wild card, they either win or lose, and if they win, it's by chance and just luck. So, Yankees lose! And it's also funny because that's what Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Big Papi were doing after they celebrated. And I don't blame them. Get that Groupon for that free Budweiser, bro. Sign me up. Alright, anyways, go ahead, Spennis.
And my dud is none other than, this is a different reason, but I am giving it to Jerry Jones again. Good. And this is more so in his Delulu.
Good.
In thinking that the Cowboys are going to be fine, and all they need is one defensive trade at the deadline.
While also giving the finger.
There was that too, but at the same time, are the Cowboys really going to be okay when it comes to just adding one more defensive piece?
Brother, you had fucking Micah Parsons, and you were like, you know what? We don't actually want to pay him, so we're going to take him to Green Bay. You had Micah frickin' Parsons. Give me a break, Jerry Jones.
Honestly, here's the problem. The real thing that will make the Dallas Cowboys defense relevant is honestly an addition by subtraction. And that subtraction, though I definitely am going to say it's probably going to last till the end of the season but it may not, is that subtraction needs to be Matt Eberflus. Yeah. This dude already showed his head coaching ineptitude last year with the Chicago Bears. Did Brian Schottenheimer not know? Had he not heard?
I think he wanted
You
to
bring
take
this guy in as a defensive coordinator, and his defenses are still getting the stank beat out of them.
I think it's more of just straight up just he wanted to take a chance on Eberflus because he probably saw something in him, but because the Bears' defense was actually pretty good last year, even though Eberflus killed the vibe of the Bears. But I mean, the talent was already there and built from the get-go for the Bears, so it looks now more like he was just not really doing his job. But I don't know. The way that ownership is run with the Cowboys is weird. The Cowboys in general as a team, as a um, object, or really just their whole message is just that's literally the Cowboys every year. It's just I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and Jerry Jones has already shown his senile state as an owner anyway. Let's not perpetuate this a step further by thinking you're just one piece away. No.
Dude, Jerry Jones is like,
we're not having that over here.
Dude, Jerry Jones is about to break. He's like having his Linkin Park moment. I need a little room to break. Well, stop closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. Like, that's what he did with his whole oil business back in the day, which got him to where he is now with the Cowboys.
I honestly think he's having a little more of a Grandmaster Flash moment where he's like, he's saying, don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head, but I'm sorry. No, you got pushed over that edge a long, long time ago. And in a galaxy far, far away.
Good. That's why I say Jerry, because he seems like a Sith Lord at this point. Like, he just has that face. Anyways, let's go.
I was trying to leave it there before you went into your Palpatine moment, but
good.
But I was gonna say my stud this week goes to Las Vegas Aces forward Aja Wilson, pretty much also known as who potentially could be the future Mrs. Bam Adebayo, for being the first WNBA player to do the following: win a Most Valuable Player, a Defensive Player of the Year, and a Finals MVP in the same season. She also is the only one to have scored 300 points in a postseason. And this was all, I believe, also without being she might have also been a WNBA All-Star as well. But at the same time, I mean, Aja Wilson is still the best player in the WNBA and very well could be an all-timer once her career is finally done. This just only adds to the lore. And time for your stud there, Ruckus, and your
Oh, sorry. I was looking at, because you were talking about Aja Wilson and Bam Adebayo. I was trying to think of other duos that have been in a relationship, and I was looking that up and I didn't get anything. Thanks, Google. Anyways, stud for this week, I have, you guessed it, but not in the way you thought of what you thought it was going to be for the stud. Dart Simpson high-fiving a ref after Giants touchdown on Thursday Night Football. I saw this viral clip and it was too good to pass up. Just like it's too good to pass up the Caucasian. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like. Never mind. Anyways, let's move along.
We're going to go right into the high heat here. We will move the color commentary to a later point because it's time to get into some football, and it's week 6 recap time. The teams that were on the bye this week are the Houston Texans and Minnesota Vikings. Or at least on the bye this past week. And the first game we are going to talk about is the Amazon Prime game where the Giants stunned the Eagles 34-17.
The Caucasian creatine Caucasians, that's what they were. Creatine's something that you use as a supplement for working out.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew where you were going with this. And this was very interesting because you heard the viral moment that this guy's mother had said about him training this by running into telephone poles in his brother's shoulder pads. But there is something about how Cam Scatterbo is running the football. And it puts me into that late 90s, early 2000s nostalgia trip. And I kind of like it.
There's a meme here that's... Go ahead, sorry. I'll explain the meme after that.
Because simply that, he reminds me none other than the A-Train in this case of Mike Allstott, a Tampa Bay Buccaneer running back out of Purdue, gets drafted as a second-round pick to the Buccaneers, spends his entire career there, and this dude ran like he was a freight train that would just bash. The difference is that Cam Scatterbo is smaller. He's smaller and he might be a little bit faster. But Allstott can hit. Like he was a trucking fullback. Blocks like a fullback, but was used as a runner. He was a running fullback. And that's kind of what Cam Scatterbo is. 98 yards, 3 touchdowns in this game, and all of his touchdowns were short range. But what was the meme you were going with?
Okay, so I found a few memes. One of them says, Cam Scatterbo plays like he wants life-altering CTE. That's the type franchise running back you need. And then there was one that was...
Oh, yeah, that he's speed running. I've been seeing the speed running CTE.
And then there was one that said, if Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo pull out the upset this weekend, bro, culture will be back and bigger than ever. The creatine Caucasians. That's as New York Football Giants as you get right there. Okay. Colts Cardinals, or what are you thinking?
All right. Well, did we have anything for the London game, which was Denver and the Jets?
Nope.
All right. So, the next games we will get into are the 1 o'clock games, which will begin, yes, with Cardinals Colts. 31-27. Cardinals fall to the Colts. And I'm going to say this. There may be a potential theory that the player holding the Cardinals offense back from being more effective than what it is might actually be Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's over here standing like T-Swift saying, it's me, hi, I'm the problem. Yes, Kyler Murray, if I was going to say this, your undersized frame, your speed, and the Call of Duty side that has made you not as much of an effective quarterback as you should be is definitely a problem. And And yeah, granted, you may have been effective for like one season with Cliff Kingsbury, but for the rest of your entire career, you kind of have been either injured or not playing as well as you should. So that's where I'm saying I think it might be Kyler Murray that is holding the Cardinals back.
Yeah, he saw Battlefield 6 released. I was like, all right, I'm gonna play that instead of
No,
Warzone.
Kyler Murray's a Call of Duty guy, I think, through and through. So I just was using the Call of Duty as a.
I know.
The Pittsburgh Steelers defeat the Cleveland Browns 23-9. And I'm going to say that these Steelers are playing more to the identity and formula that has historically made this franchise successful. Stifling defense plus offense that puts just enough points on the board to keep them ahead equals dubs. Chargers 29, Dolphins 27. Chargers win at the last second. The same old formula applies. When Tua turns the ball over, the Dolphins' offense will always be less effective. Devon Achane running the football was a bigger reason why the Dolphins were still in this game, as Tua played themselves out of it. Granted that he also was criticizing his team for missing players-only team meetings. So yeah, Tua,
Maybe because
I think your time as starting quarterback of Miami is probably on about as short of a leash right now as Mike McDaniels is of being the head coach. And I'm just sitting here like the kid with the sunglasses meme of just saying, deal with it.
I'm also thinking of Ralph just like being a torpedo whenever Tua tries to go head first into a tackle and then gets more CTE.
In danger.
Yeah. That's all I think about when I think of Tua anymore. I would be surprised if the Dolphins just shed his contract and like maybe turn it into a Bobby Bonilla situation where you have some deferred money so that they can go and have more money to get other talent to fill the holes. Just a thought.
Yep. And then I'm going to say this. The revenge game of the week, the Panthers defeating the Cowboys 30-27. And whose revenge game is it this week? Rico Dowdle. As Rico Dowdle and this 2 weeks of breaking out shows signs that he remains effective. And as he remains effective, he can keep Chuba Hubbard healthier for longer and continue to be an effective stopgap option to let Chuba Hubbard recover fully. Once that happens, I think the Panthers are even scarier than they are running the football. I think running the football might be the way Carolina should truly be winning football games right now instead of throwing it around with Bryce Young, who kind of is almost like he's about ready to be a bridge quarterback for somebody else. But Tetairoa McMillan is also a functional wide receiver, which is another notable thing. And I think you take out the word "re" in terms of where you really think the Panthers are. I think the Panthers are building. They're not rebuilding, they are building. Dave Canales is the right coach for the right head coach for the job. It's just coming together. It's coming together more steadily and kind of at like that slow and steady pace that you really want. Or like you kind of really see like just small bits of progression. And the Panthers are doing a great job of that.
Yeah.
I think that was the last of the 1:00 games because we have nothing on New England, New Orleans, nothing on Seattle, Jacksonville. I think was still just a really good game, just low scoring.
I didn't even pay attention to
And
that.
then Rams and Ravens, that game was just straight up ugly because no Lamar Jackson. Titans, Raiders, we'll get to the Titans here later on. That was a 4:00 game. But the main 4:00 game that I'm going to talk about is 49ers Bucks. This game was cinema to watch, as these two teams are some of the most resilient in the NFL currently. There's so many injuries on both teams, but neither of them give up. Neither of them will not go down without a fight. Baker Mayfield is showing that he's an MVP candidate. He is showing that it doesn't matter what receivers you have out there on that field. I'm going to win a football game with what I got. No number one running back, no number one wide receiver. The star rookie of this season gets injured during this game.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm still going to win this game.
He did it with the Rams too. Whenever they had they needed a quarterback
he was
late.
the one that came in on short notice.
Yeah.
Came in on short notice and won a football game. So we've always known Baker Mayfield is just like, I'll give you what I got. And I'll let you roll around with Lions Chiefs next, because that's the next game on it.
All right. So for my take, it was a clean game until the literal end, which I say that because there was a fight that broke out like seconds before the game was supposed to
Brian
end.
Branch got suspended for one game because of that punch.
I'm kind of glad that happened. And then I also note the Chiefs did all right, but that first drive from Goff said otherwise, because it seemed like the Lions were just like kind of tiptoeing, whereas the Chiefs were just waiting for him and like pounce on the opportunity. Also, had a flashback from the Super Bowl with that Juju pass early in the game, whenever it was kind of like a swarm kind of play for the defense, where we had a bunch of interceptions that happened for pick sixes during the Super Bowl. Fun times. Run.
I mean, I think that, yeah, the Chiefs' offense looked like it was working well. The Lions, on the other hand, I mean, it's an offense that does know that it works, but I think Kansas City has just enough on defense to kind of slow that down just a little bit.
Yeah.
And ultimately, yeah, there were a lot of times where turnover on downs, like Amon, the Sun God, had a rare drop. Yep. And now to the Monday Nighters. And Ruckus, you got the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. So here's what I gotta say about the Bills. When I randomly just put that game on my TV late Monday night, I was just kind of like, why are the Falcons up 21-7 on the Bills? Aren't the Bills supposed to be a good team? I thought they were good, and they got pecked pretty hard and eventually tried to run away from the Falcons over there.
Oh, I'm actually going to throw one thing to you here. And this is my counterpoint to that. The star power of Atlanta put in work.
They did a really good job.
Oh, I mean, if you want to consider the stat line, Drake London had 10 receptions for 158 yards and a score. Bijan Robinson, throughout that entire game, 19 carries, 170 yards, and a touchdown. But then also had 6 receptions for 68 yards on 8 targets. So it was a lot of the star power of Atlanta being in Bijan Robinson and Drake London just putting in work. And Josh Allen struggled. Josh Allen was on the struggle bus. Fumbled twice, but didn't lose one. Threw two picks. So honestly, I think it's just Atlanta came in hungry and ready to go after their bye.
Yeah.
And Buffalo was coming off of a deflating momentum loss in their game to New England. And then I have Commanders Bears. The Bears beat us by 1 in the last couple of seconds. And simple formula of complementary football. Making mistakes while being unable to force opponents into making some of their own is not a way to win a football game. Jaden Daniels throws that pick because he gets it just away a little too late or not with enough lob to get over the top to take the top off the defense. Krosky Merritt fumbles for the second straight game. And then really the one that ultimately put the knife in was the mistake of Jaden Daniels having a hard time, having a bad exchange with Krosky Merritt because the ball slipped out of his hand. I mean, wet weather. Keep your hand dry on the football. The ball's gonna be wet enough and it's gonna be slick. So you really need a surface to kind of counteract that.
All right.
But our main piece of color commentary as the Raiders ended a 4-game skid by defeating the Titans 20-10. The Titans then, as Brian Callahan called out Cam Ward, within the week, he was fired. Notable stat here is that this was the 4th straight and 6th of the last 8 rookie quarterbacks drafted number 1 overall to have their head coach fired during their rookie season. Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence were the previous 3, and then Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield also had this same fate. The question here, if you are on a front office of a team that has a coach on the hot seat, and probably even at the point where you maybe should have fired him very early on in the offseason, and the ground is slightly shaky on where the current quarterback situation stands, as the Titans had Will Levis going in before any injuries, and the Titans had the first overall pick. How do you handle this? How would you have handled this situation?
It's a bit of a shady one because there are many ways you can go about it as far as like the easy ways where it's like, okay, you could trade that number 1 pick to be something more valuable. Maybe someone sees pick number 1 and is like, okay, I want to get like that guy, like that quarterback or that running back, or oh my god, have you seen this defenseman? Like maybe they think that, or they just go for talent, or they move away from that in general somehow, like swapping picks. Like who knows what they could have done. But they have Mike Bergonzi there, so he's probably slowly going to help build them to be a successful general managing core, because obviously that's what the Chiefs had to go through with Glenn Dorsey and I think it was Mike. Uh, I, for some reason I was thinking Piazza, but that's a catcher for freaking baseball team. Let's see. Chiefs staff 2011 2011. Scott Pioli. That's who I was. I don't know why I was
Scott
thinking.
Pioli.
I was like, what the heck? Like, what am I doing here? Um, Yeah, when Scott Pioli and when they left, and it was Brett Veach and company. That's when it started getting a little better, but it didn't happen overnight. So you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would have this. First of all, prior to the offseason even beginning, yeah, that head coach was already going to be out of there. That head coach should have already been out of it. Because, I mean, yeah, it wouldn't have been great to have him fired after his first season. But at the same time, there was nothing going. There was nothing going there. If something's just not quite working, like, why, at that point, like, yeah, that, I think it would have called for something there because honestly, that offense needed a fresher take in Tennessee. Second of all, assess the draft class. Have your scouting on their P's and Q's, but note where the strengths are in the draft class, where the weak points are, and see what you're possibly needing to find. Assess it against your team need, and try and balance out from there. Thirdly, if you choose to draft the quarterback, be prepared with a coach that's going to be able to groom that quarterback well. Brian Callahan and that offensive coordinator were also not, and I don't think Mike McCoy is a quarterback whisperer. Not by any stretch. You really need good quarterback, like people who can relate well with quarterbacks. I mean, Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell's a great example. Dave Canales. I think Liam Cohen is showing it a little bit, but I think the running game has been really the strength of the Jaguars offensively. But guys like Clint Kubiak and I would even say to a degree Cliff. I think's the same way.
Yeah.
And honestly, building around a scheme does take time. But you want to also look for someone who kind of best fits the personnel and kind of
True.
could build around whatever the head coach's scheme potentially could have. Yes, you want the best value. And Cam Ward might have been the best value. But at the same time, I don't think he was truly the best player on the board. So I think it's just there's multiple facets on how you want to go about this. Do you draft the quarterback? Do you trade down? The Titans have historically done that. They traded down from number 1, and that's how the Rams got Goff. Like, there's multiple ways that you could go about it. And there's almost no right or wrong way. And now we move on to the film room. And pick up a couple points. It's a 10-point game going into this week.
Woo woo!
And I am up 42-32. We've got 7 points on the board for college and 13 total as we have 6 NFL games on the slate. Ruckus, the first game in college. And by the way, you are the red picks.
Yep.
Vanderbilt, LSU.
I have
Who do you got?
I got the Tigers. Go Tigers.
I am taking LSU as well. Here. A 2-pointer, Ole Miss and Georgia.
How about those absolute dogs? I was hoping you would do that with me.
I was
but
initially
whatever.
thinking that. But I have a little bit of a lead. And I'm going to play around a little bit here. Give me Hottie Toddy. Go Ole Miss. I'm taking Hottie Toddy here and Lane Kiffin.
Is this like your Lee Corso moment where you just like grab like one of the play guns or whatever and you just go pew pew
You mean like
pew?
one of the mascot?
Yeah, like do the. I think there was one
Yeah.
where it was like a Oklahoma State Cowboy or God, there had to be
Yeah.
one with like a rifle or something, and he just went pew pew pew.
Yeah, but I am going with Hottie Tot. I've got some room to play with, so I'm like, I'll play around. I'm gonna take Ole Miss here. I'm going, and I'm saying Hottie Toddy. And now the next one here for 2 points: Tennessee, Alabama.
I'm gonna go Tennessee. I just feel like they had. I think they're the better team than Alabama. I've heard that Alabama's kind of not as good this year.
Okay. First of all, confirming this here, this game is in Tuscaloosa. And Tennessee does not have a great reputation of winning in Tuscaloosa. So I am taking the Tide. I'm taking Alabama here, as Alabama will defend home field. And now our next one here, I'm only going to make it 1 point because neither of these sides are extremely good. The battle for the jeweled shillelagh. USC Notre Dame. Are you going to say that the next jewel will be red or green?
I'm taking the Fighting Irish.
So you're going to say that next jewel is going to be green.
Aye.
As much as I would have loved to have put an emerald in it, unfortunately, it's going to be a ruby. USC.
You're gonna eat those words, sir.
And then Utah and BYU.
Utah. Shout out
I
to
am also.
Saul and
I mean,
friends.
they're both. I mean, both of those schools are in Utah, and as much as I would have loved to have picked BYU, I'm taking the Utes. Commanders, Cowboys.
I am. Oh. You said.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Commanders Cowboys. Sorry, I was like, oh crap, I didn't fill out the rest of them, but that's okay. I have Commanders because I just think the talent is a lot better offensively versus the Cowboys. I might be eating those words,
Out
but
of
it's only a 1
principle.
point, so who cares?
Out of principle. Commanders. Rams, Jaguars.
I have the Jags. I think they have the better talent than the Rams. Defensively, I think the Rams are going to suffer a lot of offensive woes because they don't have Puka Nacua and they don't really have anyone else. But the Jaguars are fairly healthy comparatively, so that's why I was thinking the Jags.
I'm going to say this. Here's what we have. First of all, the Rams could be without Puka Nacua. The Jaguars are used to being in London. They're used to it because they've been every single year. This game is in Wembley, though, where the Jaguars are 4-5 on those trips. But the familiarity of being in London has me think the words, you know what county they're from, Duval, as I am taking the Jaguars here.
Never gets old. Never ever.
What, the Duval?
Yeah. Never gets old. Gotta love it.
I mean, I had a whole I had a whole series with it, so I had to learn it, and I had to learn it quick. Eagles, Vikings.
I have the Vikings.
I am taking the Eagles. I think the Eagles will bounce back here. Colts, Chargers.
I have a feeling the Colts are going to pull a Houdini and win against the Chargers because the Chargers have done some questionable things late in games, but we'll see. I'm just kind of throwing.
Yeah, the hardest part is that this isn't SoFi, but the Chargers also struggled against stopping Bill Krosky Merritt. They've also had trouble stopping Devon Achane. Who do the Colts have as a running back? Jonathan Taylor. I think they're going to still continue to struggle stopping the run. I'm taking the Colts. 49ers, Falcons.
I have the Falcons just based off of the one game I saw between the Bills and Falcons. I was just like, well, if the 49ers luck is going to run out, it would run out by the Falcons because that defense is cooked for the 49ers.
Oh, they lost their captain, Fred Warner.
And Nick Bosa.
And I think they've been without Nick Bosa. They've been without Nick Bosa, but they've been winning without Bosa at this point. But they just lost Fred Warner.
They're going to have to pull a rabbit out of their ass.
Of the defense being a middle linebacker. I mean, Mac Jones is showing that he's got talent. But I'm taking Atlanta here because I think they're going to get a whole dose of mustard with Bijan running the football well. And then the Monday Nighter, Bucks-Lions, and the Lions will be without Brian Branch.
I'm going to say Lions because I think it's going to be a shootout no matter what between Goff and Baker, but we'll see what really happens.
I think Baker Mayfield, I haven't predicted yet. Baker Mayfield, one of the toughest in the NFL right now. And he is going to continue to show it. I'm taking the Bucks. All right, minute and a half left, and it is time for the final sprint. On the blocks, set. DJ Moore spending the night in a hospital following the game against the Commanders. Cause for concern, especially with it being a groin injury?
So I don't know.
I'm gonna say this: as far as that Bears offense, yes, I think that actually is going to be a concern.
It should be concerning, but I just don't know what to do in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, it is concerning because DJ Moore has kind of been their little like versatile back, almost like a Jameson Williams type.
Yeah.
Cam Hayward calls Thursday night's game between the Steelers and Bengals on Amazon Prime tomorrow night, depending on when this releases. It probably end up being tonight if you end up uploading
It'll be
tonight.
It will be tonight.
Yep. All right, so it'll be tomorrow night. Yep. Tomorrow night for this. The Icy Hot Bowl. Thoughts on that decision to call it that?
I first saw a social media post from the NFL social media. Sorry.
Yeah, I said 20 seconds. Yeah, but I think that's a cute way of calling this game for two 40-year-old quarterbacks. Last one here, Sleeper's fantasy football picture of Josh Allen. What's up?
You know I was gonna say the Unk game, right? I was gonna add that they called it the Unk game on the Facebook socials. That's what I was trying to say.
Final one, time already expired, but I was also trying to say you had 20 seconds left. Sleeper's fantasy football picture of Josh Allen is instead showing Hailee Steinfeld, his wife, in a Bills jersey. 1 to 10 on how funny that is.
I think it's freaking hilarious. Like, I didn't realize it until I was so I have Josh Allen as my fantasy guy, and I realized he was in a bye, so I needed a quarterback, and I found Michael Penix, and so I looked at Josh Allen's photo, and at a glance I was like, what the heck, like, what is that? And then I realized, oh, yep, that's his wife instead of him, which I thought was hilarious.
That is the infamous well played, sir. Well played. When it comes to that side of it.
I thought it was very creative how they poked fun at that.
I mean, I was impressed. And on that note, that will do it for the Ruckus and the Menace episode 158. I'm Menace the Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And until the next one, hugs and hand pounds, everybody.
Deuces.